Hello, my name is Jack. I want to tell you a story about a time when I felt very sad. It all started 1 year ago. Back then, I was a happy boy, always smiling. I had friends, a loving family, and many things to do. But then, things began to change. One day, I noticed that my best friend had stopped talking to me. I didn't know why. I tried to ask him, but he just walked away. This made me feel very confused and a little sad. I kept wondering, did I do something wrong? As the days went by, I felt more alone. I tried to do things that I used to enjoy, like reading and playing soccer, but they didn't feel the same. There was a heavy feeling in my heart, but I didn't understand what it was. Then, one night, I sat alone in my room and asked myself, why do I feel this way? But I couldn't find an answer, and that made me feel even worse. Every day I felt a little sadder. I wanted to talk to my parents, but I was afraid they wouldn't understand. So I kept my feelings inside, hoping the sadness would just go away. But it didn't. Instead, it grew stronger. Soon, I felt lost and completely alone. The days felt long, and the nights felt even longer. I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I felt so empty. My friends noticed that I wasn't the same, but no one asked why. I felt invisible, like nobody could see the sadness inside me. One afternoon at school, my teacher asked me to stay after class. She looked at me with kind eyes and asked, "Jack, is everything okay?" I wanted to tell her everything, but my words got stuck. I just nodded and said, "I'm fine." But deep down, I knew I wasn't. The teacher smiled gently and said, "If you ever need to talk, I'm here." Her words were soft, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a little bit of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't alone in this. That day, I went home and thought about my teacher's words. It felt nice to know that someone cared. But the sadness was still there, like a dark cloud that wouldn't go away. I wanted to be happy again, but I didn't know how. Each day, I tried to find small reasons to smile. Sometimes I would see a pretty flower or hear a nice song. Those little moments made me feel better, even if it was just for a short while. Weeks passed, and my sadness became a part of my life. I stopped doing many things I used to enjoy. My friends stopped inviting me to play, and I felt lonelier than ever. But every day, I remembered my teacher's words. "I'm here if you need to talk." Those words kept me going, even when I felt like giving up. One day, I saw a small bird outside my window. It was flying freely, happy in the open sky. I thought to myself, I want to feel like that bird. free and happy. I closed my eyes and imagined myself flying, leaving all my worries behind. For a moment, I felt peaceful. That night, I decided to start writing in a journal. I took out a notebook and began writing about my feelings, my sadness, my fears, and my wish to be happy again. Writing made me feel lighter, as if I was sharing my burden with the paper. Each night, I wrote a little more. I wrote about the things that made me sad, but also about the small things that gave me hope. Slowly, I began to understand my emotions. I realized that it was okay to feel sad, and more importantly, it was okay to ask for help. As I kept writing, I started to notice small changes in myself. I felt a bit stronger each day. One day, my teacher asked me to stay after class again. But this time, I was ready to talk. I told her about my sadness and how lonely I had been feeling. She listened quietly, without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Jack, I'm proud of you for sharing this. You are very brave." Her words made me feel warm inside, like a light was finally starting to shine through the darkness. She told me that everyone feels sad sometimes, and that it's normal. But, she said, we don't have to face it alone. She encouraged me to talk to my parents and let them know how I was feeling. She assured me that they would understand and want to help. That evening, I sat down with my parents. It was hard to start, but once I did, the words just flowed. I told them everything. To my surprise, they hugged me and said they loved me. They promised to help me feel better. And for the first time, I didn't feel so alone. With my parents' support, I began to feel a little better each day. They encouraged me to do small things, like going for walks or spending time outside. My teacher also checked on me often, reminding me that I wasn't alone. I started to find joy in little things again. I watched the sunrise, felt the warmth of the sun on my skin, and listened to the birds singing. These small moments brought me peace. I learned that even in the hardest times, there is still beauty in the world. Over time, my sadness didn't feel as heavy anymore. I realized that it was okay to ask for help. And it was okay to feel sad sometimes. My friends began to notice that I was happier, and they started talking to me again. Slowly, I felt like myself again. Looking back, I am grateful for my teacher's kindness and my family's love. I know now that sadness is just a part of life, but with help, we can find our way through it. My heart feels lighter, and I have hope for tomorrow. And every time I see a bird flying in the sky, I smile. because I know that, just like that bird, I am free to be happy again.